And it is Meal Foy with the lead. Malibu Curl runs in second, then Traffic Lane in third, followed by Cafe Society and Malathaat as they move for the eighth pole. It is Meal Foy in front, and she's got a 3.5 length lead. Malathaat has moved up on the outside. It's Meal Foy trying to hold off Malathaat, who is coming on now on the outside. Meal Foy and Malathaat, the two curling fillies. Malathaat got it.
Welcome back to Racing Rundown. Today we have another preview. We're continuing our series of previews for the Graded Stakes this weekend, and we have our second Graded Stakes preview from Keeneland. This is the Grade 1 Ashland Stakes. This is the 100-point prep race for the Kentucky Oaks. We have a very competitive 6-horse field, so we're going to start off, as usual, with going through the 6 horses in the field and the number 1 in this race, which is Curlin's Catch, who's coming out of a disappointing 5th-place finish in the Devona Dale, but I will say there is reason for her to improve out of that effort. If you look at that race, that was a race where all the favored horses ran poorly. Malfoy ran poorly, the Belmont filly. Vequist, a champion 2-year-old, ran poorly, as well as Curlin's Catch. So those were the 3 highly touted horses. All 3 of them didn't run too well in that race. But if you're discouraged by that effort that Curlin's Catch had, I will say she was the best finishing of the 3, Malfoy, Vequist, and her. She was the best finishing. She was beaten rather handily, but at the end of the day, she was better in the race than those other 2 were. And the other encouraging thing is Malfoy came back to run a very good second behind Crazy Beautiful in the Gulfstream Park Oaks. So there's reason to think that she will improve. And her wins at Tampa and Gulfstream earlier in the year in the Suncoast and when she broke her maiden were pretty good efforts, won by 2 3/4 lengths in her maiden breaking effort over a horse named Tabor Hall, who's not bad. And then she won the Suncoast at Tampa over a group that's not great, but it wasn't a terrible group of horses. So she's probably, I think, of the horses in here that are stakes winners, she's probably the most overmatched, but that doesn't mean that she's bad, and I do think that she can improve off of that effort that she had in the Devona Dale. Number 2 is Pass the Champagne. Pass the Champagne has only run twice in her career, and she is stepping up to heavyweight stakes company, and she hasn't run against the likes of horses like this, but if you look at her past performances, she was only beaten by Slumber Party, who is one of the favorites for the Beaumont Stakes, which is running on Friday. So this video may be up following the results of the Beaumont. So if Slumber Party wins the Beaumont, then that really flatters this horse right here. But after that race, she came back and she won by 2.5 lengths on her own. And she did get beat by Slumber Party, but I think Slumber Party's a nice filly for Kelly Breen in the West. So that doesn't mean that she's losing to bad horse. She didn't lose to a bad horse at all. Slumber Party, I think, is going to run well in the Beaumont, and that'll flatter the form of Pass the Champagne. So she's a horse that is at 4-1 right now. I think she may go up a little bit higher because some of the stakes horses will take more money than her, but she's not one to completely write off. Number 3 is Simply Ravishing, a horse who, to me, is very interesting. Simply Ravishing's best career win came over this Keeneland surface in the Alcibiades, but she hasn't won since that. But, if you look at her 3 efforts before the Breeders' Cup, nice win in the Alcibiades, good win at Saratoga, 2 good wins at Saratoga, including winning the P.G. Johnson Stakes on Derby weekend. She ran disappointing efforts in the Breeders' Cup and the Goldenrod, and she hasn't run since the Goldenrod. And I'll make this point when I get to Malathaat, but there's somehow a horse in this race that's coming off a longer layoff than her, and that's Simply Ravishing. Simply Ravishing, in the Breeders' Cup, she bobbled at the start, didn't get a fair break in that race, so I think she could have run better if she had gotten a better start. Kenny McPeak had a pretty bad luck weekend with his fillies in the Breeders' Cup, but looking at the Goldenrod, that was a race where she just got beat. I really can't put it any other way other than she just got beat. But that was her first start at Churchill Downs, and Churchill Downs can be a bit of a problematic track for a lot of horses, even if you go back. And I don't want to say that I'm comparing her to Monomoy Girl, but that race, a lot of females that go on to do nice things have lost that race, the Goldenrod. So I'm not completely writing her off. The reason that I'm not picking her is because I don't like the layoff. I don't trust her off of those back-to-back 4th-place efforts, even though the Breeders' Cup won. I can forgive. I'm not really super sure what to think of her after the Goldenrod, and the layoff really kind of cements why I'm not going to take her. But Keeneland is where she ran her best race. The Alcibiades was a spectacular run. If she can run similar to that Alcibiades level, she's going to be very dangerous in this race. Number 4 is Moonswag, who is a horse who is going to be, I think, either the longest or the second longest shot in this race. And this really tells you how deep this race is, because Moonswag is not bad. She's a stakes winner. She was a stakes winner at very lower competition, but she is a stakes winner, and she hasn't run bad in 2 runs at the fairgrounds in the Silver Bullet Day, and then in the Rachel Alexander, she finished behind the top 2 females on the Oaks Trail right now, Travel Calm and Clairiere. So losing to those 2 is not a bad thing, and I reversed the order then. Clairiere was the winner, Travel Calm was second in there, but losing to those 2, that's not a bad thing to say about her at all. The question is that she doesn't like to win races from what I've seen at this kind of level, so a little bit worried about her ability to win this race, but she could run well. I think that, if you're looking for some kind of value, she's probably the horse that you're going to be able to sneak into your triple as your value horse in here. Number 5 is Malathaat. I had a lot of good things to say about this female last year, as did my co-host. Both of us have been really tooting this filly's horn since she won the Demoiselle last December, and that was a very impressive win for her. Time was horrendous, but if you look at that track, that was a very, very wet track. Malathaat was not taken to that track at all, and it's a huge accomplishment that she was able to win that race, because watching her down the backside and even into the first half of the stretch, it looks like that Malfoy was going to win the race and Malathaat was going to be the best horse in the race, but was going to be the victim of circumstances. But she rallied and was able to win the race by just under a length. So that win right there was very impressive, and I thought that coming out of that race, that she was the best 2-year-old on talent from 2020. I will still say that I think she's the best overall talent filly, but there are people who don't like the time, and obviously there are going to be people who don't like the layoff. I'm nervous about the layoff, but she's a Pletcher filly. I'm a little bit eased by the fact that Pletcher horses tend to run well no matter what the layoff is. So I'm going to bite the bullet with the layoff and bite the fact that she's probably going to be the favorite and take her in here, just because I really do think she is that good. And the final horse is Will Secret for trainer Dallas Stewart and jockey John Court. This horse has been really fun to follow at Oaklawn over the winter. This filly has been pretty much doing everything that they've asked her for. Dallas Stewart horses tend to take a while to find themselves early on, but when he has a good horse, when they eventually do find themselves, that horse, it is a real threat. She's a real threat in this race. Her wins in the Martha Washington and the Honeybee were nice races. She's been running against lighter competition, but I will also say it does say something about Willis Horton and Dallas Stewart. They had the opportunity to win another race at Oaklawn against a pretty light competition, but they think highly enough of this filly to send her to Keeneland for the Ashland against some really nice females in Malathaat and Simply Ravishing. So that means that they have a lot of confidence in this filly. I like the boldness of Dallas Stewart. He's never one who's afraid to take a shot with a female, and I think that she's going to run well in this race. I don't know that she's a win candidate, but she's going to run well, and I will be using her in my trifecta, which is going to be very chalky on top. It's going to be Malathaat and Will Secret. Probably 2 of the top 3 shots. I don't know whether or not Simply Ravishing will be favored over Will Secret. I think it's 50-50 at this point, but Malathaat probably is going to be the favorite. She's going to be my top choice. Will Secret second. And then for third, I'm going to take probably the longest shot in the race, Moonswag. So that's going to work out to a 5-6-4 try in this race. If you are playing this race, good luck and have a good one. And make sure to check out our other previews that we have this weekend, including previews of the Bluegrass and the Wood Memorial and the Santa Anita Derby, the Kentucky Derby prep races. Have a good one and good luck.
3 wide Sun Path off the top of the turn. Will's Secret now leads by a full length from Sun Path in second. 3.5 lengths further back to Olivia of the Desert, but Sun Path and Will's Secret with Pauline's Pearl at the rail. Will's Secret reaches, and she's a length and a half in front of Sun Path. Pauline's Pearl dives through from the inside. Will's Secret, Pauline's Pearl, Will's Secret.